Welcome back, everyone. So as per some fan requests, I had to do a brief update regarding my stock in Apple. If you're not familiar, I started out a couple months ago with a series with the title of buying $75,000 worth of Apple stock. And since then it has moved to $100,000 because I'm going all in and putting a boatload of cash in. As of the last video in this sequence of videos, I did in fact hit $100,000 in equity, not including profit, $100,000 of my money into Apple stock. Apple is rebounding and performing greatly even with the turbulent market that we're seeing right now and on the heels of the election coming just weeks away. It's shown a picture-perfect, calculated rebound after a correction that we saw recently in Apple stock, and I've been buying up almost every single solitary week now, even more shares. I'm on my way to a significant number of Apple shares. It's a substantial number. I'm not going to reveal it just yet because you have to, of course, see my Robinhood portfolio. But it is something I'm very proud of and something that I've worked very hard to get to. And if you have been enjoying this series of Apple videos and investing in general, go ahead and respect that like button and give it a big thumbs up, smash the like button. This will support me and my channel so I can continue to bang out content for you guys every single solitary day without any exceptions, no excuses. I make videos now every single solitary day, and that it means also every single week and every single month, with no exceptions, no excuses. So if you just go ahead and click that like button for me, I do greatly appreciate it. And if you're feeling extra generous and you are so curious about my portfolio, I'll show you in just a second, but you do also have to click that subscribe button, hit that big red button, and also hit the notification bell as well. That will just notify you every single time I do make a new video. You'll be first line to see it before anyone else gets to it. But firstly, let's cover some crucial news surrounding Apple stock, especially for those people out there who might just first be buying Apple stock or are looking to get into it before the year is over. This news is groundbreaking and momentous for Apple stock and the company as a whole. So first, let's cover this super important news, and then we'll look at Apple stock and how it's been doing. And then we'll also look at what happened after hours this past Friday. And then we'll go into my Robinhood portfolio and show you guys exactly how much money I have in Apple. This news is going to be the fact that 5G is rolling out and Apple is hoping for an unprecedented upgrade cycle. Apple has already pulled off some virtual launches during the crisis, and now it is gearing up for the most important one yet. Apple is holding a giant online event October 13th, tomorrow, and this will bring the launch of the company's first 5G-enabled iPhones. The new phones will be rolling out a little bit later than they did during last year's cycle, but the company is expected to have devices in stock heading into the holidays. Apple's betting on a gargantuan-size wave of upgrades from people upgrading their older phones to 5G technology. Apple has hinted that 5G may be the main selling point of its new phones with its invitations to Tuesday's event. The tagline for the launch, which will occur virtually beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, is high speed. It remains unknown whether Apple will offer support for millimeter wave spectrum, the faster type of 5G, or whether the phones will just be compatible with sub-6 5G, which is more widely available but offers less of a step up relative to 4G networks. So currently Apple is thought to be planning four iPhone 12 devices for the coming rollout. Many expect that the company will debut two regular iPhone 12 models in 5.4 inch and 6.1 inch screen size, as well as two Pro versions with screen sizes of 6.1 inches and 6.7 inches. The Pro models could have a third camera on the back, as well as a 3D lidar sensing that allows for better augmented reality capabilities, according to Dutch bank analyst Jeriel Ong. All of the new phones, though, will have 5G connectivity, and the analyst expects that 5.4 inch model to be the most popular with consumers, given that there's still a strong appetite for smaller screen sizes, even as Apple is increasingly moving towards larger form factors. And investors are following suit and feeling extremely bullish ahead of this launch. Just looking at Friday's trading day in the action after hours, that was super indicative of optimism coming along with the stock. So on Friday, October 9th, the stock soared $2 or 1.74%. all the way to 116.97, but then if you take a look after hours, it actually soared another 0.88% or $1.03 all the way to 118. We saw a pretty significant sell-off in the month of September, but now investors are cheering on the classic buy the dip. Now, if you just look at the September 18th low of 106.84 before the rebound occurred, it has since soared upwards of 9%, almost 9.5%, and that doesn't even include after hours, so it has now crossed 10%. It is up big time. This is the rosy action that you want to see ahead of a major launch for a company. I'm actually hoping that it stays around this territory so I could scoop up even more shares. Luckily, it's not too late, and there is still plenty of room for Apple to go, and you could still get in now at a fantastic price. But where am I at now? What does my portfolio look like? Well, let's dive right into my Robinhood portfolio and my Robinhood account. My Robinhood portfolio is going to highlight the action that occurred after hours, just in that small window of time after the market closed. So let's jump right in. You can see right here my portfolio now does stand at $124,322.84 with more action after hours. I believe that is included though. And of course, this is not my only portfolio. I do have a couple others that you can check out in other videos I've done in the past. But we're going to be focusing strictly on Apple right now, which does definitely take up the bulk of my portfolio. So let's just go right to Apple. Let's see what's going on here. Well, Apple is showing that 118 price point that we saw on Google. When you just look up Apple stock, it is accounting for that 118, the action that occurred after hours. So if you do look at that and you add things up there, it shot up over 2% just on Friday. And this is right before the groundbreaking news tomorrow. And the market value of my entire Apple stake does stand at $113,735.84. Some of that is profit though, especially with the stock rebounding greatly. So you will have to take a look at these numbers here, and where you see the total return on my Apple. Of course, the pandemic did affect this and it was much greater than before. But even throughout the pandemic, Apple has performed very, very nicely. And the total return is going to be $11,244.58, and that will account for a 11% gain there, which is still very good. I'm happy with that. And if you look at the average cost, an amazing average cost in this stock, this is after the stock split, of course, it's 106.33. 106.33, and I've been buying more shares now than I ever did before, and it's barely inching that average cost. What that tells you is I could buy another 100, 200 shares, and my average cost will still be way below the current price point. So I started buying over a year and a half ago in this specific portfolio. Like I always mentioned, I actually did own Apple prior to this portfolio. So I just wonder, sometimes I think maybe I could have transferred the stock from E-Trade to Robinhood without having to sell it. But nonetheless, I still did get in at a great price, and Apple still had plenty of room to go after I did that sell mock transfer. So average cost, 106.33. It barely budges. It only goes up like 1 cent or 2. And the amount of shares, well, that's going to be 963.863028 shares. And what I've been doing is not only buying whole shares, but also buying fractional. So let's say after I purchase a round of shares of Apple, I'm left with, say, 20, 30 bucks. I'll then buy those shares and buy a fraction of Apple, and then I'm able to buy like 0.1, sometimes 0.05, sometimes 0.2 shares of Apple. And when you just keep doing that over and over and over again, it ends up being, it does equate to full shares. So there's no reason not to put in fractions of dollars into Apple or buying fractions of shares. And it's just a great opportunity for those of you who can't afford the full price of Apple or many shares of Apple at this point. You can buy fractional shares and still become a very wealthy investor if you put in the money, if you're disciplined and following all the other rich people habits. You could still do it. You don't have to buy whole shares. And like I said, that will make up the bulk of my portfolio, and you can clearly see here it actually makes up 91.48, so about 91.5% of this entire portfolio. I would have to do the numbers if you were to include my Roth IRA and my other small E-Trade portfolio. If you would include that, how much would Apple take up? I would guess it's still pretty dang close to 90%. I would probably estimate, if I were to just ballpark it, I'd probably say close to 85-90% still, even if you include my other portfolios. And to figure out what my principal investment is, how much of my own money is in Apple, you would just look at this number right here, which you could also just take the total return and subtract that from the total market value, but they just give it to you at the cost. That means your principal amount, and that's going to be $102,490.25. So that means that is all of my money that I have put into Apple, and that does not include any profit. The profit number would be the market value, which you see right there. I like looking at the Apple analyst ratings, but you don't want to get too emotional over them. still, it does hold at 58% of analysts are saying it's a buy. And these are legit analysts. This is all from Wall Street and all of the analysis done from these firms and institutions. 58% still say it's a buy. That's actually a little bit lower than it used to be about last year before the pandemic. However, it's still the majority of analysts. And when it actually says 58% say it is a buy, that doesn't mean that the other remainder means sell. You have to look at these numbers. 33% are saying it's a hold. 33%. They're not having a position one way or another. They're neutral. They're just saying hold the stock, but they're not saying it's a definite buy or definite sell. But you still have a majority, more than a plurality, of people saying it's a buy, and then only just 10% of analysts saying it's a sell. And even those people can't make too much of a nasty case for Apple. If you look at the earnings here, it's continued, not greatly, not vastly, not by a long shot, but it has continued to beat earnings estimates. Sometimes it actually is right on the money, right on what they are expecting the estimates to be as far as earnings per share, but it has consistently beat earnings even throughout this pandemic. If you look at quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3, it has still beat the expected earnings. And because we're heading into the fourth quarter of this year, I know the year flied by like crazy, we're now looking at Apple to announce even more earnings reports on November 4th. That is going to be the fourth quarter earnings report. November 4th, it's coming. And the fact that Apple stock is still rebounding ahead of this launch and ahead of this upcoming earnings report is a great sign. So just had to jump on here and report my recent stake and holdings in Apple. More updates will be on the way, especially after this launch and as we are heading into the fourth quarter of the year, and also potentially as that vaccine might be coming in just weeks from now. We don't know, but that will send the market soaring. Just the simple factor of the vaccine will create so much optimism and so many more money and people will be poured into this market. Just wait and see when that vaccine comes. It's going to be quite the spectacle. But I do hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up, smash the like button to help with that YouTube algorithm. It allows me to do even more videos for you guys, absolutely free, no cost to you. So just go ahead and click that like button. And if you want to see more of this on my channel, I do post videos now every single solitary day, covering everything from business to finance to investing, entrepreneurship, mindset, strategy, and tips and tricks from my own experience. I also do stimulus package and stimulus check updates. That way you're in the know regarding that topic as well. So if any of these niches appeal to you, click that big red button, the subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell as well. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.